Really? Go on. Yes, it's telling me I'm live. Yes, please feel free. Bang on time. Which, considering I tried to log in 12 minutes early, not impressed. Who's there with me? Can somebody say hello if you can hear me? Yes, Graham, the air is blue. I am not a happy bunny. YouTube has fought me every step of the way, but I think I might have beaten it into submission. I might have done. Now it won't let me see the chat. Yay! I can hear myself on Mike's machine. That means I am indeed live. I've completely forgotten what I'm doing now. Good evening, everybody. Good evening.
You could read the chat and catch up.
Well, I like that you could. If I could see the chat, I would. Look. Chat. Yay! Right, let me catch up. Good evening, everybody. Who is with us? We have got Carl. Hello, Graham. Well, obviously I won.
Eventually.
In the end. Thank you, Carl.
I've got nearly as much tech on my desk as you have.
Now the chat's disappeared off the end again. It just really hates me. It completely hates me.
Well.
Hello, Marcus. Good to have you with us. Now it's refreshed the window and... let me just leave it there. As long as I don't actually need to see anything, I'm fine now. This is the second laptop I've tried on. Well, the desk. Look at the desk. What can I say? Look at the desk. Oh, dear. Right, we're changing things about this week. We're doing things in a slightly different order. There are reasons why. But before we do that, you need to make sure you can see my desktop. I've got a challenge for you. Now, Mike, you must remember to tell them, if no one guesses, the answer to this at the end of the show. Because doubtless I'll forget. Right, I'm about to share my desktop, so let's make sure you can see that before we go any further. iMac, that's the one. Right, eventually you'll catch up with me and you should be able to see my desktop. Now, and it's not an icon. We're not talking about an icon here. But if you can see my desktop, the challenge of the night is, what's changed? It's not the icons in the top left. I've got one, top right. I've got one more icon than usual. I've also just remembered I haven't pressed record on Camtasia, but I'm getting round to that. It's been that kind of night. Now, what do I want here? I don't want that. I want that. And awesome. Right, that's strutting its stuff. That's brilliant. Right, let's get this live, and then I can show you what we've got planned.
Have you seen this video doing the rounds?
Which video is this doing the rounds?
That one. I saw it before.
It's a guy walking up a road.
Yeah. Well, it's dead funny.
Oh, no, I've not seen it. No. What time have I had for that? What can I say? Good grief. And now the chat's disappeared off the end again. YouTube, I know you hate me, but, please. I can see half of it. Well, we had an interesting story here today, didn't we, Mike? He's totally forgotten. We're in Sale, which is in about 8 miles south of Manchester United. And we have what's called a waterside. It's more of a big puddle, isn't it? But they call it the waterside. And we have a tram system, which has been around for about 25 years now, hasn't it? 25 years. And it's great. Takes you straight into Manchester. Also goes out to the airport now and to North Manchester. It's marvellous stuff. Well, today, on the platform at the Sale Waterside Station, there was a goat. I'll just leave that there. It was a live goat, just stood there on the platform waiting for a tram. Turned out it had escaped on Sunday, and it had managed to escape 25 miles from home. And they took it to Mayors Vets, have a quick once-over. He was fine. Don't know about the passengers. What got me was the passengers on the platform were just on their phones and they didn't take a blind bit of notice of this goat meandering around. If you get a chance to see that video, you need to see it. That's about, a mile and a half from us? Yeah, he should have come here. He could have popped in. He could have done the front garden while he was here. That would actually have been very helpful. So tonight, we're unboxing. But we're unboxing early doors because we're following up from last week's unboxing. which was, who can remember what last week's unboxing was? And have I had any guesses yet as to what's different on my machine, my desktop that you saw? Made a bit of a change this week. Then I've got some cool animation tricks. So we started looking at video last week. Don't know if any of you who were here went in and had a look at the comments on the video from last week, but Curtis caught up with us and was rather pleased. So that's a bit of a follow-up from last week, but this time I got asked, well, obviously, I think I can do that in video, but what about other things? So I'm going to do cool animation, where I do the same animation in 3 different apps, in 3 different ways. So whatever you use, that one will be good for you. Then we're having a look at Firefox Send, which is a brilliant service. Don't panic if you don't use Firefox. Then we're going back to the unboxing. Now, the reason we're returning to the unboxing is Mike's got to take away what we unbox in part 1, work some magic on it, and then bring it back. So that's the plan. Now, I think it'd be a good idea, Mike, if you turn the light on. Because much as though I don't want to actually see myself, we're going to have to see part of the unboxing here, aren't we? Oh, this is not good tonight. Lots and lots and lots of text. So how's everybody else's week been? I want to leave that where I can see it. But you see the chat disappearing off the end? Mm. I can only see half of what Graham said. Oh. Yes, I'm not impressed. Yeah. Right, so we're going to get into the unboxing, which was, if you remember, last week we started and we unboxed something called the RavPower FileHub Plus. So let's go in and have a look at that. Now, somewhere around here, I've got my multicam. And I've even got that. Yay! And I've got the toy. There's the toy. So let's get that on the screen so you can see it. Would help if it was the right screen, but never mind. Go on, twang to the right size, why don't you? No, you're not, are you? That's definitely not the right size. I'm going to have to make this a bit smaller on the other screen and then get it on that screen and then make it bigger. It's just the way Apple have me playing around. What can I say? Been a bit of a day like that. Right, that's nowhere near big enough, is it? So can we take that? It's not going. It's not doing it, Mike. I will have to do it manually. Thanks for that. It's been a bit of an Apple week.
It's been a lot of an Apple week.
Is it MFI furniture? Ooh, which is that? Where I'm working? No, it's not. Now, it's stuck now. See what keeps happening? Mm. And then it disappears. Are you coming back? No, you're not coming back. I am not having the best day with this, I can assure you. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to delete that network in case it keeps trying to connect to it. I don't think it is. But on the off chance it's having a moment and thinking about it, I'm going to delete the whole shebang. No, I didn't want to do that. Forget it, forget it, forget it. Let's get you back on my network. And let's hopefully have them seeing more than that. Because that's not very exciting, is it?
Graham's watched the video.
Which one's this?
I presume this thing that we missed last week.
Oh, yes. I should have mentioned that. The grand unboxing from last week that was a complete fiasco because YouTube had another moment and threw its toys out of the pram again. We put that video up. What is wrong with this now? Now it thinks it's black. I don't know what's the matter with this. Right, it's there. Quick, while it's having a think about it. Right, that's what we unboxed last week. You can now see it's on power and it's got a card in it. Card's in there. But we also have, oh Mike, it's upside down. We also have 2 more toys that we're going to need for tonight's demo, which is that one, which is a 400 gig card. It's a toy of Mike's. And this one, which he will need to get it on his Mac. That one's mine, that one's Mike's. So, do you want to do the honours?
We have a his and hers.
We do, we do. Scissors, scissors, scissors. Oh, get the ones from over there.
Oh, the pink ones.
They're yours. I'm not doing it, you're doing it. You're doing it, you're opening your card.
I'm opening my card.
Yes, just be careful with that, I know you. Oh, it's gone again! No, it's back again. No, it's gone again. This is not going to be great, because I can't even see this.
Shall I wait?
I don't know what's wrong with it. It's just having a moment. Oh, guys, this is not great. This was my demo. And I can't demo it, can I? Unless I do it this way. This worked perfectly last week.
How much was it? Was it 55 quid?
It was, but it was on special offer. God, it's gone again. Oh, what am I going to do?
On offer for...
It was on offer for £55. Its usual price is anywhere between about 85 and 92. Right, it's not having it. For reasons best known to itself, it's not having it. I'm assuming I know what the problem is. And there's nothing I can do about that. So I will attempt something else, because I don't want you to miss it. Let's try something else. Which means flipping the darn thing round, Mike. I hate this. Really, I'm not having a good day with it. Right. Which way round do you want to be? Oh, bear with us while it has a moment and I try and sort it out. I've got the phone upside down now. Right, what I'm doing now is I'm trying to do the screen share in a totally different way. Right, so I'm attempting now to mirror the screen. And you know what, Mike? It's not having that either, so what's the matter with it?
Reboot the phone?
Well, if it wants me to reboot the Mac, I can't do that, can I?
Try rebooting the phone. Oh, hang on.
Oh, that took about 25 minutes. Right, are we round? Oh no, it's all the wrong way round. Hang on, will I get it the right way round? Not the right way round? It is! Right.
Carry on.
I'll hold it. I'm not going to try and get any... I'm not doing anything clever with this at all, because it's not in the mood tonight. Let me just do that. Right, here's your card.
There's my card.
Ooh, that's tiny. Can you get that in? Or do you need me to help with that? Can you?
Yeah.
Right.
There's one in there.
Ah, now you see,
no,
you'll be using that bit,
yeah.
but on the Mac, you'll need to put it in there.
Right.
So can you do that?
Don't know. I'll hold this and you put it in.
Mind your fingers. Right. Open at this corner, he said. It's not having that either. Even the plastic's beating me tonight. Right, there we go. So let's tip those out. Now that bit, which is the tiny, 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 tiny bit, goes into your Surface. But to get it into here, to get it onto your Mac, it's going to have to go in there first. So that slots in there like that. Right, next bit. Where did the scissors go?
Put them away.
Don't put stuff away before we've finished with it. Do you know the other webcam's working perfectly? That one. Might have to switch to that one shortly. Right, okay, let's get into here. Do you know, the world's resources are being used on rubbish plastic like this?
Yeah.
And I can't get in. It's not very accessible, is it? I mean, those scissors can probably gut a chicken. Right, let's get in here. Now, this is about £7.50, I think, £7.20. And is a very good one. It takes the bigger cards at the back, smaller cards at the front. But it's quite light, but it's not got... The one I had kind of collapsed in on itself. So that one doesn't. That one's rather good. So I'll pop that in there for Mike. And he is now going to head off with that over to his Mac and work some magic with it while I'm doing this. But seeing as though I'm showing this, you're going to have to stand there with that. So you will be doing that later, Mike. Right, but for now, let's get rid of that rubbish off the desk. And what you can see here is my iPad. Now, the reason that I am not reflecting my iPad to the screen is because for this to work, a certain magic has to happen first, and I'll explain it all now. But it means I can't share the screen in that way. So, right, I nearly pressed the button there, but I'm on a different iPad, so it needs to be on that one. Okay. So this is the toy that we've got turned on. And you can see we've got a green thing on the Wi-Fi. That was more difficult than it needed to be honest with you, I thought.
It was a lot more difficult.
What I needed to do, you'll like this, Mike, was plug in that. So let's get that in view. I needed to plug it into this, and I did that at the far end of it. It's got an RJ45 underneath that little rubber cover, and I plugged in this, and I noticed as I plugged in this cable, have you noticed it's got a label on it? It handily says Ethernet cable.
No.
I did not put that on there. I do know what an Ethernet cable looks like, and I don't need to...
I thought you put that on for me.
No, that's not a bad idea, but no. So once you've plugged it into your network, it kind of configures itself and sorts out the Wi-Fi side. But this entire device is a router. So it has its own networking going on. So picture this. In MacBites headquarters, we have a wireless network. This device is providing a second wireless network. And to make the bit that I'm going to show you now work, it needs to be connected to it. So if I go into my settings, you can see there in my Wi-Fi, don't move that round so you can see it, it's actually connected to the FileHub Plus. So this device is talking to this device, iPad talking to the FileHub directly. What would the problem be with that? Because it was a problem when we turned it on, wasn't it? You just sat there and nodded nicely and said, would you like some tea?
Yeah, that's what I'm good at.
No.
I'm also good at other.
The problem with it is, if this iPad is connected to this device, and this device does not pass through to the internet, then pretty much your iPad's crippled. Now, luckily, this device does allow you to do a pass-through to the internet. So I did. The next step is connecting to it's all very well, but it needs, you know what Apple are like. They do like to make things difficult for us. So you need an app on the iPad to allow you to access the files that are on the card in the device. No, you can't go into the Files app and just access them. It doesn't work like that. So we have this FileHub Plus app, and this is what you get. And it allows you access to 3 areas of your iPad. Your videos, your photos, and your music. So videos over on the left. Move that round a bit, Mike. I'll work round you. There we go. Photos and music on the right. Now, I don't actually have any music on here, but I do have images, and I do have some video, I think. Yes, I've got... Well, I have no idea what this is. Despicable Me and stuff. No idea. I think they were freebies from Apple. They're not mine. But if I go into my photos, all my photos are there. So as I scroll down all of that, I've got all the MacBites posters. Look. All in there, neatly organised. Right. So the 3 areas that you've got at the top, when you open one of them, like the photos, down the bottom, and it's actually quite difficult to see. One, because the animation's not great. Let's see if I can get you nearer. Can I get you nearer? Yeah, move that way. There we go. Now, if we could just do something with the light on that. Come on, have a think about it. Oh, you could just about see it. There we go. FileHub Plus on the left and iPad on the right. And what that does is it shows you the files that are on the iPad when that one's green, and on the actual device itself when they're not. So when that one's green. Now, obviously, you can see that one's empty at the moment. Nothing there at all. So on the iPad, I've got all these images. On the device, I don't have those images. And that is how it works for each of the 3 areas. Now, the system is controlled in this bit down the bottom right-hand corner. What that enables you to do is to create a user and hook up the device to the internet. That's it. So once that's done, leave it alone. You never have to look at that, Mike.
Good.
Right. This bit's the interesting bit I found, which is file and folder in the middle. And what that does is actually show you the files that you have access to on the actual device itself. So I've got 2 folders, one called Share and one called Backups. And then any files that you may have on the iPad. So everything works in pretty much the same way. You're flicking at the bottom between the 2 devices, your iPad and your FileHub Plus. Now, the useful bit is this. You go into your files and you tap select in the upper right-hand corner, at which point you can now select files. So if I go down to some of those MacBites posters, oh, Mike's Bot. Got to have Mike's Bot again, haven't we? Made to measure. What else have we got? Where's Naughty Narcolepsy? Oh, we've got to have the dog. Naughty Narcolepsy. There's Naughty Narcolepsy. So you select the files that you want there. This is being very bad tonight, isn't it? It's jerky as heck. I really don't know why. Well, all might be revealed later. Has anybody guessed yet? Good evening, Kevin. Good to have you with us. Right. Then you have this copy to button in the lower left. So tap on that and it takes you out to your external storage. And remember those two folders? I said I had share and I had backups. I'm going to tap on backups, and this is how you would back up images from your device. So nothing there according to that, but it's lying. But down in this corner we've got the paste button. So if I tap paste, it will take those 4 images, and you see it's very quick doing it, and it transfers them over to the card. As I move back and tap on the FileHub Plus, hang on, I need to go to my files and folders first and go to my backups because that's where I put them. Down the bottom there, Naughty Narcolepsy and all of the others. So those are the 4 files that I backed up. That one of the dog looks rather dicey. It didn't do a great job. Oh no, there you go. It's got there. It's got there. So those are the images. You can actually read the images off there. You can transfer them back. The only real limitation with that so far is where you can access on your iOS device. So going back, if you look at this, you've got 4 locations. Well, 5 if you count documents. But listen to this because this is a big caveat. Right, your videos are the videos that are on your camera roll. Your photos are the photos on your camera roll. And the music, I've no idea where that comes from. Don't use it. And it's reporting stuff to me that I know is not on this iPad. But each to their own. That's Apple. These 2 down the bottom are where it gets interesting to me. The file folder option is where you can view the stuff on your card. That documents looked very interesting to me. And what it's actually talking about is the documents that are on your iPad. So I can go in and I can look at it and it says it's empty. That's on the card. But if I tap on the iPad, that is also empty. Anybody got any idea how you would get anything in there? Because you know what iOS is like for being very annoying. Walled gardens. Every app has its own playground. But of course, for this to be any use, it's useful in terms of you could have documents on the card and copy them back to your iPad. But what if you've got a document in another application? How would you get it into this application? What logic do Apple give you for doing that? I had a rare old ponder, and I came to the conclusion the easiest way would be the share sheet. So I did. It's in the share sheet, and I went to another application and I just pulled something, went to the Files app, pulled something out the cloud, and tried to use the send sheet. Don't do that. It crashed and burnt. And when I say crashed and burnt, I mean crashed and burnt big style. The app was unusable. I had to delete it. Then I reinstalled it. And even that didn't help. The iPad got itself into a right old stupor. So at that point, I had to reboot the iPad. So I personally would leave at least that documents area alone. But to be honest with you, there's more you can do in a completely different way. And we're going to come on and have a look at that. But that's the basics of what that does. I've tried it for about 3 days now. It's rock solid with its Wi-Fi, which is a very good point. It's pretty good in size, as you can see. The battery seemed to go on for quite a while, although I've put it on power for the demo tonight. And everything else is absolutely fine. There's just that leave that folder alone bit. But we will return to this when Mike strutted his stuff. Shall I show you Mike strutting his stuff? You going to wave? Right, there's Mike strutting his stuff.
Yeah, 'cause I can't even find the device.
Oh dear, poor Mike. Well, I'm going to go on and show them something else while you carry on with that. So I'll take this out of the way and we'll get on for that. Oh, that's what's wrong with it. Their server needs more permissions. Oh, for crying out loud. Right, I've done that, so you never know. That might actually work down the line. It might start behaving itself. Oh, Kevin, I'm liking that idea. If we need music, Mike and Kevin could do a duet. I'm liking that idea. I really am.
Format this disk.
You shouldn't have to format the disk, no. And you don't really want to fiddle with it. Oh, Mike's struggling already.
4S1. I presume that's, yeah,
Well, what's it saying about the size?
394 gigs. That'll be it.
That's the one. So what's its problem? If it's not working, leave it alone, Mike, and we'll come back to it. Right, let's head back in here and have a look at the next bit. Oh, a good demo. Who enjoyed the video last week? Curtis had a fabulous time. This is something that you may have seen if you've seen my YouTube channel. And I asked you last week what you wanted me to cover, and I got an email. How did you do that? Did you purchase it? And what they were talking about was, in my YouTube promo, there's a bit where I mention the word holiday. And while I'm speaking, there's animation on the screen. And those two images that you're looking at now are what that actually was. This is what it looks like if you've not seen it. Now, there's no audio on this, but this is about 10-20 seconds worth of my YouTube promo. So it's where I talk about being a geek and then say, but you won't be getting pictures of my holiday. And no, I did not buy that. I made that animation. And then there's a picture of my beautiful lad who would have been 18 last Tuesday. Bless him. Okay, so that's the animation. So how are we going to do it? Well, I'm going to show you how to make the actual graphic itself. So the file that you would need that says the word holiday, I will show you how to do that in Affinity Designer. Then I'm going to show you how to make the animation that you saw, but not just in one application, in 3. Why do it in 1 when you can do it in 3? Right, I'll show you in Camtasia. That's my video editor of choice at the moment. When I made this video, though, it was in ScreenFlow. So I will show you in ScreenFlow. It is literally a 2-minute demo of how to do it. And they're all different, the ways that you do it, but there's commonalities as well. Now, if you don't do video and you haven't got either of those, then Keynote is a free option. And hopefully you'll see at the end of this demo that what you get is identical. It does not matter. It's not that you need something at hundreds of pounds to make it work. Not at all. You will get exactly the same outcome. So I'll show you Keynote last. Not for any other reason, other than I might as well get the video out of the way first. Right, now, before we start, you have seen that, which is what we're aiming to make. First thing to do, get into Affinity Designer. I'm using the beta. There was a brand new beta out today. So do update if you're using the beta as well. And I'm just going to make a new file and then start working with it. But I'm going to use something called a Boolean operation. Who knows what a Boolean operation is? I'm betting Graham does. Pretty sure Curtis would as well if he were here. Now to do that, I've got a file, Boolean operations, which I will show you. There are 5 Boolean operations. Now, I'm showing you in Affinity Designer, but you'll find Boolean operations in a whole range of applications, including Keynote. Now, they might have slightly different names, but they all pretty much do the same thing. So, to demonstrate what they actually do, I've got here some shapes. I have 5 squares and I have 5 arrows. These are independent shapes. And I've done them 2 different colours. And that way you'll see what will happen not just to the shapes, but also the colours of the shapes when you apply these Boolean operations. Now, the Boolean operations are available from the upper right-hand corner of the screen, and you'll see there that 4 of them are dimmed out. So just to focus your attention on that, I'm talking about these 5 buttons here. But you'll see at the moment you've only got this one at the end, which is divide. But there are reasons for that. The primary one being you've not got more than one shape selected. When you have, and you go up here, all of the 5 options become available. They even give you a little bit of a preview on the button as to what they actually do. And it's not difficult. It's not a difficult concept to understand. If I add these 2 shapes together, I will not group them. I'll create a completely new shape. Obviously, that new shape will be the square and the arrow. But what colour will it be? There's a thought to ponder. The orange one is at the back, so the blue one is on the top of that. What colour will it be? Well, we'll find out. We'll do a plus, and there you go. Goes to orange. The next one, we're subtracting. So have a think about what that would leave. Which bit would it take away? Well, it's either going to leave a bit of the arrow at the bottom, so it'll just cut that bit off the arrow where it intersects, or it'll go the other way and there'll be a chunk out of the square. One or the other. There you go, chunk out of the square. So it looks like a little bit of a house. So you've basically taken away the arrow shape. Now, obviously, the whole arrow has gone. Oh, Graham, how many times? You do know what Boolean operations are. You do. What was I saying? The whole arrow has gone, but the only bit that looks like it's gone is a little cutout. And that's because that was where it overlapped. So it took away the whole arrow, but it took away the part of the square where it overlapped. Boolean operations are really like, yes or no, do you want this bit taking out or that bit taking out? And as I say, you'll find them in Illustrator, Sketch, Affinity Designer, Gravit Designer, Corel Draw, you name it, they are in there, even Keynote. They're just slightly different, but the principle is always the same. So this one's going to keep the intersect. Now, where do they intersect? Well, we should have a clue with the previous one. This little cutout. That was where they were the same. So if we do that, that's the bit it keeps. But notice, even though it kept that bit, it's still orange. So it did lose the colour off the arrow, even though that was where they intersected. But what it does is keep the commonality between the 2 shapes. This one's far more difficult to explain, so I won't bother. I'll just show you what it does. It's pretty much the opposite of the intersect. This time, the only bit that's taken away, so we've got this white oblong in the middle, is exactly the same size as the bit where they intersected. So it takes away where they intersect. And then the last one, the divide option. So I'll hit that. Doesn't look like it's done a thing, but it has as I pull the pieces away. Where the edge of the shape. So first of all, it's cut out the bit out of the divide. It's left the bit of the arrow, but that's now blue and separate from the other bit. So where the line, the edge of the square, cut across the arrow, it's separated the arrow. So we've now got 3 pieces. Those are Boolean operations. Affinity Designer. Not to my knowledge, this one was only updated today. Unless they've released it while I was playing with YouTube. But no, this beta got updated today. Right, so those are the Boolean operations. Remember that, although we'll only be using one of them. So I'm going to make a new file. I'm not going to fiddle with anything in there, so it's just my default type of file. But I need it to be a certain size, and I want to export it easily, so I'm going to insert an artboard, the size of the document. And all that does is give me an area to work with. This at the moment is 1280 by 720. That's not the size I want it. I need it much, much bigger. The video I'm working with, or the Keynote slide I'm working with, is 1920 by 1080. So, do I want it 1920 by 1080? No, I need it much wider. 1080 tall is fine, but I need it much wider. So I'm going to make it 3840 wide by 1080 tall. And I'll just take that to the full screen so you can see what that actually looks like. It's really, really wide. And that's because it's got to move across the canvas of the video or Keynote, but not... No, not. But actually, it's got to move off into a space and show you another part of itself. So when we add the word holiday, it will stretch the full width of that. So whenever it's in view, we'll only see a part of the word holiday. So first thing to do, we only need 2 elements on this to make it work. I will, however, name this holiday text, because you should name these things. So that's my artboard, it's named holiday text. The 2 items I need a rectangle. So there's a rectangle. I need it the size of the artboard. So stretch it out to fit the artboard. Now, it does have a colour. That is a slight grey colour. I'm going to make it far more lurid. Let's have a salmony pink, because we can. The reason I'm doing that is so you can actually see it. The demonstration would be diabolical if it was white, because I'm about to add white text to it. So next thing you need is the text. So just click on there and actually type in the word holiday. Now you're probably thinking, can't see that. It's a bit on the small side. It is, but I can stretch it out. Now this text at this stage is editable, and it will remain so. Now when I did this originally, I used Sketch. I created that video in 2013. And at the time, I was using Sketch. I don't think Designer had even been released at that stage. And I had to do a lot of extra work to make it work in Sketch. Designer, when I thought, oh, I'll recreate it in Designer, it was so much easier. So what I'll do with that is, it needs to be a different font. And the font I want is called Impact. And it's just really so it's big and bold, and that when it moves across the picture behind it, you'll see the picture behind it. You need a really chunky font for that to work. So I'll put it in ballpark the right place in the top left and then stretch it out. Now remember at this point what you've got. This is editable text, but Affinity Designer is amazing. And you can do that with editable text, or in my case, make it a bit taller and then place it in the centre of that. Now I'm going to move it back a little bit from that, although that is slightly off centre, it looks better. So those are the only 2 elements I need. You should be thinking at this stage, Boolean operations, because I've got the word holiday and I've got the rectangle at the back. I'm going to select them, so I've got them both. They're both selected in the layers over here. And then I need a Boolean operation. Which one? Could you get the same effect with more than one? Interesting. Interesting points to consider. One of them works perfectly. And one of them, I just need to click it. I don't need to think about it, just need to click it. And that is the subtract. So what that done has taken away the text. So the actual text over here now is completely gone. I'm left with the shape that I had there before, the salmon pink one, but now it's got the word holiday punched through it. To be absolutely certain that it does have the word holiday punched through it, I'm going to get another square. Let's make it a nice powdery blue. Put that behind it. And you should be able to see that you can see the powdery blue, which means it is transparent. It is transparent, and it is. So I need this white. Now, if you don't want it white in your output, if you want it a different colour, now's the time to choose that colour. But I actually wanted it white. So I'll just make that white. Now you see why it would have been a really bad demo. Can't see a thing until you select it, and then you can actually see the word. Now, how many times have we gone over the export persona? You can never go over the export persona too many times, I think. So I'm going to go into the export persona. Why am I not just exporting it? Well, I want control over it. Now, in the export persona, in the slices, if you've never seen this, this is the killer feature of Affinity Designer as far as I'm concerned. I don't want to export the background because that's the whole thing. I want control over what I'm exporting. So I'm going to use this bit here, which is referring to the artboard that I named Holiday Text. Then I need to specify a file format, and I prefer mine to be PDF for print. It will export the transparency. You can see that because the thumbnail is giving you a preview and it does have transparency in the middle. The reason I choose PDF is that it's then scalable with no loss of quality. And that's it. All I need to do then is export it. So hit the export option there. Another clue as to what's different with my machine. The one I've left you with all day. Right, so I shall export that to the desktop and minimise that. And there it is. There's my file. If I preview it, it doesn't look grand because that cutout, it's not previewing the transparency of the PDF for me. That's all that's wrong with it. That's all that's wrong with it. Right, so we've now got what we need. Next step, get into Camtasia, my editor of choice. This is going to be interesting because Camtasia is running and it's recording. Let's prove that point. There it is. It's running and it's recording. So anything could happen, but I'll just say new project. Now this is an interesting point when you think about it. Both Camtasia and ScreenFlow will allow you to do this. They will allow you to work on another file while they record the screen. Of course, it could crash in a right royal fashion. We'll see if it does or not. So I've got this file that I need, and I'm going to drag that onto the canvas. Couple of points to think about with this in here. The first item that you drag to the canvas in Camtasia specifies the size of the canvas, and that is not what I want. So I'm going into my project settings and I am making sure that my video is 1080p and apply that. So now I've got this gap top and bottom from the bit I dragged in, from the element that I dragged in. Now I am also going to need, so let me get a Finder window up, I'm going to need the picture of the holiday. So the beautiful background to it, which happens to be in my folder. So there's my folder, and I do have that in the files I wasn't going to use. There it is. That's my holiday there. So I'll drag that in as well. So just dragging it from the Finder into there. And that's even worse in terms of sizing. But all of this is fixable. So what I'm going to do, let's lose the media bin so we can see what's going on here. All I need to do is to size these images so they are 1080 tall. And the easiest way to do that is literally just to drag them. The snapping's turned on, it will snap for you, and there is the image. Now, obviously, the image is far too wide, but it's got to be, because when it plays, it's going to move like this. Not quite like that, actually, but it will move. Problem, of course, at the moment is, where's the holiday thing gone? Well, that's behind it, and I need it in front of it. And to do that, it's down on the track here. The track's at the bottom, and I'm going to drag it up so it's on the top. Now it's too small, so I'm going to scale it up. There's very little else to doing it, to be honest. Very little else. I'll stretch this out so we've got a little bit extra to see. Step 1. Put these things in their starting position. So when this animation started, you could see that much of the word holiday. And this one would be lined up to the right-hand edge. Now, I wish you could see my hands at this stage. What's going to happen is the holiday image is going to move from where it is to the left. So I'll do it manually. It's going to do that. We've got to animate it to do that. That's all it's got to do. So let's turn that one off. This one has to go in the opposite direction. That one's moving left to right. Simples, isn't it? With one moving one way and one moving the other, that's what gives you the impression of extra movement on the thing. Right, so we'll animate this one first, I think. Now remember, that one is there, it's sat on top of it, but we've turned it off so we can actually concentrate on this at the bottom. Now all you need to do is go to the animations, and the animation you want is a custom animation, and you just drag that down onto the clip and you get a little arrow, very, very tiny arrow. But what I'm going to do with it is stretch that out. That arrow represents the duration of the transition, and when it starts and when it stops. Now, if I go back here and you think, well, show us it moving. It's not moving. No, it's not moving. It's not moving because this represents, at this end, the starting point of the animation. And this, at the arrowhead end, represents the stop point of the animation. You may have heard the term keyframes. You don't need to fiddle with keyframes in here. All you need to do is know that that's the starting point of the animation and that is the ending point of the animation. So where do I want it to start? I want it to start right back at the beginning. So I'm just going to drag that arrow right back to the beginning. It even twangs and gives me a yellow line to tell me that that is at the beginning. And then all I need to do is draw that out for what duration do you want it. Now, we're going to sit and watch it. So 4 to 5 seconds is more than enough. So I'll leave that set to 5 seconds. But still no movement. As I move the playhead, still not moving. Because you need to do one thing. In fact, let's say 2. The first thing is get it into the right place with your playhead at the start of the animation, and that is the right place. The second thing you need to do is move to the other side of the animation. And that's it. So I am at the other side of the animation. You can even do it right up to there if you like. But I'm at the other side of the animation. And I don't even have to be precise about this. I can just drag, drag, drag and yeah, right, okay, that's the right place. If I now go back to the beginning and I press play, it moves from the starting point we specified to the ending point we specified, taking with it the duration we specified with the length of the arrow. Simple as that. Now we need to go back to the beginning and make sure we can see the holiday bit, which is this one on track 2, and do the same, exactly the same. Drag and drop the custom animation on it, drag it back to the beginning, and we want them to be the same. And again, because I've got snapping turned on, it helpfully snaps it to just the right place. At the beginning, it's in the right place, but at the end of it, we need it to be there. So I've done that with the playhead to the right of the animation. Take it back to the beginning and press play. One moves one way, one moves the other, giving you the illusion of sort of a faster animation. That remains editable. So if you think that's a bit fast, I'm speaking more than that, then just extend that. So take that up to 8 seconds instead. It'll be slower, but it might give you the time to say whatever it is you want to say over the top of that animation. And if you want it really fast, you can do that as well. So, simple. Who thinks that's simple? Okay, Patrick's saying purchase designer and it's not beta. No, you need, if you can join the beta program, but it doesn't come through as a beta automatically because it's from the App Store. If you want to join the beta, and the new version has got some really nice features in it, and the beta's still rumbling on, you can go to affinity.com. Is it serif.affinity.com? And you can sign up for the beta. The only caveat with it is that you will need the version from the App Store installed so they know that you've bought it. But there's no sign up or anything like that with it. You can just go to their website and download the beta. Affinity Photo is also currently in beta. Again, you can only use that beta if you've got the version from the App Store. And of course, Publisher is still in beta, and that's open beta because it's not even available for sale yet. They have added some rather nice, rather advanced features to Publisher. So it's looking a lot more of a fuller application, much better rounded than it did in August when it first appeared. For me, the most important thing they've added is the links, and we looked at those a couple of weeks ago. But since they've done that, they've beefed up the find and replace by adding regex. So they're hard at work with all three of them. But if you want to try the beta, just go to the site and download it. Don't worry about not being able to use your original version, because you can have both the beta and the standard one on the same system at the same time. If I just put Designer up there, you can see I've got the beta version and I've got Affinity Designer as well. We're not talking about Gravit Designer, long story. But I've got the beta and the other one both installed at the same time. In fact, if I put Affinity, you can see all that I've got installed. I've got 3 betas and the 2 that are from the App Store at the moment. So numbers 4 and 5 there at the bottom are the latest version from the App Store. You'll notice that they've changed the icons as well. That's the tiniest change, believe me. One huge reason to use the betas of Designer and Photo, particularly, are it supports the high efficiency image format straight off an iPhone. Right. You will have no problem running them alongside your purchase version. In fact, I think you can actually have both running at the same time. So I've got the beta running, haven't I, of Designer, and there is 1.6.1 running at the same time. They are completely independent, Patrick. It will not give you any problems at all. You can come back and whip me with a wet lettuce if it does. There you go. Can't say fairer than that. Right. Yes, Publisher's amazing. Love Publisher. Love it. We'll have to have another look at that. Okay, so that's Camtasia. I'll take it back and just show you that actually playing in that window. So let's get some more space here by moving that down and losing the animations. And you focus on the middle bit, and I'll press play. And that's the animation that we're going for, which is identical to the animation that you saw in the finished video. That's how you do it with Camtasia. I quite like that. I didn't have a problem with the way that ScreenFlow did animation at all. It's different, but it's not that different. If you can do it in one and you understand that in Camtasia it's an animation and in ScreenFlow it's a video action, you'll be fine. And to prove that point, I'm going to minimize that and I'm going to go into ScreenFlow and do it again in ScreenFlow. Somebody should be wide awake thinking this isn't going to work, Elaine. And you should be able to tell me why. So who can do that while I get this keyed up? Why is this not going to work in ScreenFlow? So in here, I'm making it 1920 by 1080, and it's just a new document. It's not a new recording. I'm not using ScreenFlow or Camtasia today in terms of recording the screen and editing that. I'm using them as pure video editors. No screen recorded content at all. So click the new button, and I get a new window. First thing I need to do, I need the media, don't I? Now, I've got my holiday shot. Now, the way it works in here is Media Library. You'll notice in Camtasia it was on the other side. Other than that, identical. So I'm going to drag in the image of the holiday, and it's not having it already. That's a good start. That wasn't the bit that wasn't supposed to work. So I've dragged it into the Media Library for this particular project. And I can drag it onto the timeline. Obviously, it's the wrong size. But snapping is turned on in here as well, so it couldn't be easier to get that the right height. Just make sure it's okay at the top. Twang it to the bottom. And the starting point for this, if you remember, was all the way across there. So the overhang hung off the left-hand side. Right, so that's okay. Can't really go wrong there then, can we? Or can we? Let's stretch that out so we've got about 30 seconds of it. That'll do. Yes, the next thing was we had the holiday text. So let's drag the holiday text in. No problem at all. Has anybody twigged the problem yet? No, you've not. Who wasn't awake last week when I explained that while ScreenFlow is amazing, it does not support transparency in PDFs? That's what happens. This is why, one of the reasons I dumped ScreenFlow. Not got time to play around with this. I want vector images that I can scale with transparency. Now, in the event that I can't do that, I have to go back into Affinity Designer Beta, and I can add here a new export format. There are two export formats that will support transparency. One is PNG, and the other is TIFF, but I will leave that at PNG. And I will export just the PNG one to the desktop. And let's go back and pick it up. There it is. And drag that one in instead. And you can see straight away that that does support transparency. About time ScreenFlow listened to me is what I say. Right, so I'll drag that on. It's obviously not the right size, although having said that, it is the right size. And what I mean by that is, if you look at my desktop, it is 3,840 pixels by 1028, which is the size it should be. And this canvas, that's 1028 tall. So I shouldn't lose any quality when I stretch this out to be the size it should be. And if you remember, that one needed to go there. Right, so far so good. Now, there's no concept in here of dragging animations in terms of arrows onto your stuff at the bottom, the stuff that you've added to the timeline. No concept at all. In ScreenFlow, there's a whole different concept, which is video actions. Each element that you have here, your video, your audio, your video motions, your screen recording, your callouts, all of these have actions, every single one. That's not actually a bad thing. It's not. Because it gives you a consistency between the elements that you're working with. They all have whatever they're called, plus the word action. So all I need to do here is add a video action. And what that will do is, pretty tiny, but I will show you. We zoom in enough. That is your video action, that yellow overlay. It's far too short. So let's stretch it out to 3 seconds to be going on with. It works exactly the same way that Camtasia works, though. So if you just think of that yellow overlay as the same as the arrow, the starting point's at the beginning. If I click to the right of the yellow bit and move that into place there, then when I go back to the beginning, it, over the course of the transition, does exactly what I want it to do. Very simple. So turn that one off. Let's go down to this one and do exactly the same thing. Click on the holiday image, add a video action to it, stretch out the video action so it matches the other one. Yes, it does. It snaps to it. Move to the end, so I'm to the right of that, and move it to where I want it to be. Again, I'm not being precise because what I'm doing is just giving it a final location. It's not recording the movements that I'm making with this image. It's just taking a, okay, that was where it started and this is where you want it when it's finished. Let's zoom through there. Yep, that's perfect. Turn that one back on. Make sure we've got nothing selected. Come on, back you come. That's it. And press play. And that's how you do same animation. And then it stops, of course, in ScreenFlow. Couldn't be easier. Who fancies Keynote? What if you don't do video? Now, I have used this in Keynote in the past. Now, I've actually got Keynote running at the moment. So the first thing I'm going to have to do is come out of it and make a new file. So you'll see I'm starting this completely from scratch. Now, it doesn't really matter what I choose in here because I can change everything later, but I might as well go for the right one and choose widescreen. And I'm going to need a white slide, so I might as well go for white while I'm at it and choose. Now, at this point, if you're concerned, so I'm just doing that, so no, you shouldn't be doing that. That'll have to do. So you can see that the entire slide. If you're concerned what size that slide is, you need to click on the third option in this group in the top right hand corner, and you need to go to the document settings, and down there it says slide size widescreen. Not actually that helpful. It is actually the right size, but if you're concerned, like me, that it is absolutely the right size, then you can go to custom slide size, and it will then tell you what size it is, and that's fine, that's the right size. But you could actually go in here and type in whatever you want. And I have actually come into here and put 600 by 600 and then created images for Instagram with it. Many moons ago, I'll grant you. I'd use Designer for that now, but I did used to do that. So that's absolutely fine. That's the right size. I don't need anything in terms of a master, so I'll make that blank. Right, first thing I need to do is to add the image. So I've got this holiday thing here. Let's add now, which one? Well, luckily, Keynote will support transparency in PDF. So if I move it up there, you can see it's there. So that's fine. We've got that in there. It's too small, but we'll worry about that when we've got the other image in it. So I'm going to get the holiday image and drag and drop the holiday image in. So again, I only need the two elements, just need these two. That slide is 1080 pixels tall. So all I need to do with this is make it 1080 pixels tall, which you can do by dragging and, doing this business with it and keep stretching. Or you can go into the arrange and you can change the height to what you want it to. And that makes it absolutely perfect. Well, it should do. What on earth? Oh, well, if only I could type. Not 10,000, 1,080. There it is. So let's get that in place. There. Now, next one I need to do is to scale this, but obviously we've already got a problem. It's at the back. Now, I know the shortcut keys for moving things to the front and the back because I do it all the time. So that's Command-Shift-F to bring it to the front and Command-Shift-B to send it to the back. But you might not know that. You might not care. In which case, you're going to be interested in this option in here, which is the object list. I adore this feature. It makes grouping and working within groups perfect. Couldn't work without it. So it's on permanently for me. What that will enable me to do is use drag and drop to reorder the elements on the slide. Perfect. Now with this one, I want that 1080 as well. So in my arrange, height-wise, I want it 1080. But I also want it in the top left corner. So I can just put it at position 0, 0, and it's bang on in the right place. So far, so good. No animation though. Now, I'm not a big fan of animation in Keynote, must admit, don't do that. But I'll make an exception for something like this, because this is the free way to do it. If you were with us last week, you will know that I talked about using Keynote to export video. We were talking about transparent video, but this would be another option when it came to exporting as video, because it would actually export this as the finished article. And you'd be able to head off and use it wherever you want. You would even be able to take it into Camtasia or ScreenFlow or iMovie, wherever you want it to be. All right. But we need to put that animation on it first. So let's have a look at this as the first animation. The animation is from the middle button in that group of three. And what we're looking for, there's three types of animation: build in, action, build out. You might think build in's what we're looking for, but it's not. Action gives you far more options. So add an action effect in there. And what I want it to do is move. So I'll just add a move to it. And you can see it moved. Not to the right place, but it moved. So to give us a little bit of room, I'll turn that off. And I'm using a shortcut key again, Command, Shift and comma, which is actually the backward pointing arrow thing. Square bracket. No. Angle bracket, to zoom out. So I can see a lot more, and then I can use the other key to zoom in. So zoom in, zoom out. The reason I'm doing that is so I can specify where I want this to be when it's finished, which is this bit here. It's attached. Where do you want it to be when it's... And I want it to be there, don't I? Now I might have to play with this a little bit. For instance, that's not bad, but it's at 3 pixels and it used to be at 0 pixels, and I don't want it to go up and down. So I set it back to 0 there. All right, let's have a preview of that. But first of all, I'll zoom in a little bit. So remember, we're only previewing. We've not added anything yet to the background image. We're only working with the holiday bit. And let's preview it. Not bad. A little bit fast. Let's make that a bit slower. Let's have it 3 seconds. It's hard to tell the difference between that and the 2 expensive apps, isn't it? Okay. So we've got that one sorted out. Now we need to sort out the other one. This is where it gets entertaining, isn't it? Because how do I get to the other one? Well, you've got your object list. So if you turn your object list on, you could, don't disappear, come back to me, there we go. You could put that behind the holiday one while you work with the holiday one. That's what I'd probably do. This is why the object list is there all the time. So exactly the same procedure, with it selected, up to action, add an effect, choose move. Not bad, no t-shirt. So this bit here, that's its starting bit. I need its ending point. That's it, ending point. I'm going to drag that all the way across so it's there. And I know that that's right because I can do that in here. Its ending point needs to be at 0. Looks okay to me. But let's make sure. Let's do a preview. Ooh, that's a bit too quick. So let's change that to 3 seconds and do another preview. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. Now, use that object list to put them in the right order. And this time, instead of doing a preview in here, it's going to be a 3 second thing, I'll preview it and you'll tell me what's wrong with it. It won't be right. Right, let's go into it. So it won't do anything until I press a button because we said it wasn't a build-in. It was what happened after the build-in. So I'll press the button. Well, the holiday moved. Oh, and so did that, but not at the same time. It's like the old Morecambe and Wise sketch. All the right notes, not necessarily in the right order. And that's the problem we've got here. So, I'm making room on my desk so I can see the button. We are moving all the way down to the bottom right, build order, and clicking on that. And what that's telling you here is, this is not logical, by the way, and it's changed. Pay attention. It's saying that that will happen first, and then the holiday animation will happen second, which we know. We've seen it. What I need to do is group them together. And there used to be an option for that, which is vanished. But you can just drag animation 2 on the top of animation 1, and you have created an animation group. Now, 2 selected, you can still select them individually. And when I click on the holiday one, the one that was moving after the word holiday had finished, that's because its start was set after build 1. This being build 1. So all I need to do is click the button and say with build 1. So that could say at the same time. That's what it means, at the same time. Right, that should solve a problem then, shouldn't it? Let's have a quick preview. Oh, indeed. Fabulous. But then I found this issue. So let's go in and actually preview it. Which is behaving itself much better now, Mike, than it did before. What it did before, and you can see I'm slightly out with that word holiday as well. I've got a little bit of a border on the right-hand side, but that's my fault, not theirs. I didn't place it properly. The problem I had with it before was, and I don't know why it's not doing it now, but hey, it's working, so that's great. They didn't start bang on the same time, and it was noticeable. So if I take it back and we do it again, no, it's working perfectly now. What I found, if it didn't key up properly, bearing in mind what you might be looking to do with this, is export it as a video. I found the easiest option was to add a blank slide before it. And that seemed to solve any kind of problem it had with its little self. So it starts off with a blank slide, and then the animation was smooth as anything. And of course, you could export that as a video. Now, you know what I'm like, don't you, Mike? That's not right. The finish point of that is not right. So, do I try and fix it, or will it make it worse? Oh, doubtless it'll probably make it worse. Here's the finish point, I think. No, that's the start point. So it's this. I think that's got it. Right, that should be all right now. Let's have a look at that. Go on, prove me wrong. Don't you dare. Perfect. Perfect. So, last week we were exporting transparent video, but we can just export that as a video. Just go to File, Export to, choose Movie. Last week, we were looking in here at the options that were available, and I said, if you're taking this into anything else, forget the options and go for custom. That will enable you to choose one of the ProRes codecs. The reason you would choose a ProRes codec is for two reasons. One, for quality, and two, for transparency. We do not have any transparency in this. That's irrelevant. I would still go for that one. The other thing to think about, and I don't know why Apple do this, it drives me mad, is as soon as you choose custom, it sets it to 1024 by 768. I think they think everybody's got an iPad. But why would you do that when it should be 1920 by 1080? So don't forget to sort that out as well. I'm going to make it self-playing. I'll regret that. But I will make it self-playing. What I do with this when I was taking it into a video editor, I would chop it about in the video editor. So I don't care at this stage what the timing's like. I can alter all of that later. So click Next on there. And we'll put that, I won't put it on the desktop. I will put it in here in Holiday Animation. And I don't want it called Untitled. Holiday Animation from Keynote. It shouldn't take that long. There's one slide, although there is that animation on. It's only 3 seconds. And while I show you that, I want you to have a think about why you might choose to create something like this in Keynote, even if you have Camtasia and or ScreenFlow or Final Cut. There is still a reason why you might. So where did that disappear to? That disappeared over here into my file system. There it is. So let's open that QuickTime movie. And press play on it. Obviously, it's 15 seconds. It's got its own timings, and it started off with a blank slide for 5 seconds. And then it sat there, and then it animated itself. Oh. Ooh. Right, so back to why may you choose to use Keynote? Well, one reason is, if Mike stops squeaking his chair, one reason is you can do all of that on an iPad. Just thought I'd throw that in there. All of that's supported on an iPad. So if you are marooned or you are an iPad-only fundamentalist, you can do all of that on an iPad, which obviously Camtasia won't run on an iPad, and neither will ScreenFlow. So that might be a reason that you would do that. Right, somewhere I had Keynote and I had a different presentation open. Oh, there you are. Lovely, lovely, lovely. So let's go back into here. Or not. Oh, come on. You know you want to. Right, so that was that demo that kind of followed on from last week and I got a question about. Something new this week. Well, it's not completely new. Who's heard of Firefox Send? I think Graham might, you know.
Me.
I know you have. Did you hear of it because I told you about it?
Yeah. What happened when I tried to use it?
You probably broke it.
At work.
Oh, yes, that was good. Mike tried to use this at work and it got banned for being a dangerous site, which is complete rubbish. You know, they've also banned sneezing pandas. So, yeah, little bit anal they are. No, Firefox Send is a fantastic service. Now, I know what you're thinking. It's for sending files. But you're thinking, don't use Firefox. Don't worry about it. You do not need to use Firefox. And good night, Kevin. You can use any browser. It's just a service that runs in a browser. It will use any browser. I think they should just call it Send. But obviously, they're trying to beef up their brand. And to be honest with you, I've never used Firefox in anger until the last 8 months. And I switched from Chrome when they started playing about. I do still have all of those on my system. If you're wondering what the one is in the lower right, it's Vivaldi, from the people who originally made opera. Obviously into their music. But it will work with any of those. Let's go and have a look at it. And it's a free service. So I'll start off with it in Firefox as intended. Right, it is send.firefox.com. Now, you do not need to sign up for this or sign into it. However, there's one caveat with that. You can send files up to a gig, which, to be honest, is pretty big, isn't it? I can't imagine many people using more than a gig. But you get a gig without signing in. But if you want to send more than that, up to 250, so 2.5 gig, you can do that by logging in. I'm assuming it's your Mozilla account. I could attempt to sort that out right now, but I'm going to leave it at the free one. So you're seeing what I'm seeing. Oh, good question there, Graham. Let me go back to that question. Does ScreenFlow have the ease in and ease out like Camtasia did? It does, but not in the same way. I would say Camtasia edges it with that because Camtasia's got about 5 options and sub-options within them where ScreenFlow doesn't. For that kind of animation that I did, you don't really want it bouncing at the end, but the easing does make it look nice. And Camtasia does that by default. So yes, there are things you can do in ScreenFlow, but it's not as configurable as Camtasia. Right, so we need a file. As luck would have it, I have a file. I've got an image here. Let's open up that image. Of the toy. That's the black toy, and that's the white toy. I went for the white one. As I told you last week, it was cheaper. Skinflint woman. Right, so I've got these 2 files, and I want to send these 2 files. So I'll name them first. RavPower FileHub Plus, isn't it? And that one is the white one. Then I'll cheat and copy that and rename the black one. And then we'll upload them. And you guys might even be able to download them, depending on what I do. So I've got this file. I'm hovering meaningfully over this drag and drop files, and I'm going to drop it on there. And it, at this point, is not actually uploaded. You have the option to change your mind at this point, but what you can do is upload that individually, like that, or you could add more to it. So we'll start off with just this one. Now, you can set expiration options, and you'll see here it says like the default is expires after 1 download or 1 day. So it's going to expire after a day, even if nobody downloads it. You can optionally protect it with a password. Now, there's no point here me having 1 download because you guys might want to download it. So you can opt for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 20, 50 or 100 downloads. Now you'll notice that you are capped at 100 downloads. If you think about that though, if you'd uploaded a gig and then 100 people downloaded it, that's 100 gigs. So that's their way of making sure that you don't go crazy with it. Of course, if you want to upload it a second time with another URL, that's completely up to you. So I'll go for 100 there. Oh, it doesn't like that either. Oh dear. I can actually do that. I wonder what I can do without. Can I go for 2? Oh no, you can only do 1. Oh, he didn't do this to me the other day. I must have been logged in. Oh, should we have a race and see who gets there first? We'll have 1 download then. Okay. Right. Poise yourselves. I don't know how I'm going to get this into the... Oh, can I send it to you? I'll send it to you, and then you can paste it in there, because I'm not in there on this bit. So, never mind. Right, so we'll do that. I don't need to be concerned with the days, but what you've got is 5 minutes, an hour, a day, or 7 days. Those are the options that you've got there. And as I say, you can choose to protect it with a password, but we won't do that for this whack-a-mole game, this first one. Right, so all you need to do is click upload, and that's the link. And then all I need to do is copy that link. Now, I need then to get that to Mike somewhere. Oh, there you go. I'll put it right at the bottom of the Notion page. So just copy and paste that, and then whoever gets it first, you got to get into the chat and tell me that you got it first. I will go back now, and I'll log in. And if I log in, that may solve our problem, and I can go on. Yeah, enter my email. Sign in, sign up. Oh, is this one of these you've got to do it twice things? Don't like you doing that. Right. Sign in. Are they ready?
Steady.
Steady.
3,
2, 1. It's gone. Right, it's in the chat. So who gets it first?
My fastest first.
Oh, bless, bless, bless. Right,
I could get there first.
Let me log into this. And now my 1Password's not working. Oh, I knew tonight was going to be one of those nights. Okay. Oh, now come on, come on, come on. Don't do that. It won't log. My 1Password's not working, Mike.
Marcus has got it.
Way!
Yay.
Right, I'm going into my 1Password manually, like an animal, to get my password to get in here. Crying out loud. It's been one of those days, what can I say? Right, I'm now logged in. Fabulous. I can send files up to 2.5 gig and I can make sure that everybody gets it. So what we'll do this time is we'll do it with more of them. Right.
Graham, you were too late.
It's all right, Graham. You can get this one. What I'll do with this one is I will upload more files. So I can drag and drop them in there. I'll sling 2 more in as well, which is the cards that we're going to look at. There you go. So there's 4 in there. And I will set this to 100 downloads and I'll even make it 7 days. Just in case people are watching the replay. Right. Okay, Graham, are you ready? Are you ready? Right, I'll do the upload with that. You'll see what happens when there's more. It uploads it as a zip file. So it even zips it for you. So I'll copy that. It's going across to Mike. And Mike will paste it in. So it's underneath the first one, Mike. Everybody should get this. I don't think there's 100 people with us. Everybody should be fine with that one. So go and try that one.
We ready? Steady. Go.
Hey, it's there. Right. Okay, you should have that one. Let me know in the chat when you get that one. You should definitely have that one by now. It's a really good service. It's totally simple, as you see. Very, very, very simple. But that, of course, was Firefox. So let's do exciting things and try doing it with Chrome. Now, you'll notice my Chrome looks very similar to my Firefox because I use something called Speed Dial. And these are all the sites that I visit quite regularly. So this one is Send Firefox. It looks identical. It behaves exactly the same way. It will, of course, want me to log in. Let's have a laugh. I do hate it when it does this a million times. You've got to do it twice.
Marcus has got it.
Excellent, excellent. Right, sign in. Perfect. So Firefox is having a moment with 1Password. So 4 of you have got it. I can see it. Because I'm logged in, I get the history. I can download it and I can copy the link. So to be honest, it does work better. Oh, excellent. It works on Android. It does work better with an account, and a Firefox account is free. Can't see a downside to having a Firefox account myself. If you use Firefox, it's how it synchronises everything. Your history. Oh, it's fantastic. I can open stuff on my iPad, so I can be lounging in bed as I tend to in the mornings. I'm not a morning person. Surfing and thinking, oh, I could do with doing something with that. And I've got it open in Firefox. When I get back to my desk, in fact, before I get back to my desk, I can choose to send it to Firefox on my desktop from my iPad. So when I walk into the office, everything's keyed up ready for me. So I've got the old one there. Right. Now, let's have a look about adding some more to this. So this time, we'll have something different. What shall we send, Mike? Oh, I know what we can send. Mike will kill me. But we'll do this. I'll go to MacBites and I'll send you a surprise from MacBites.
Would it be my bot?
It might be your bot. People think we're insane. If you don't know that's true. They do know we're insane. And if you don't know the saga of Mike's bot, it's all Graham's fault. Mike had a microphone malfunction, and all I heard at my end of the thing, and I was recording it, was bop, 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 bop. And that was it. Graham turned it into a rap, and it's on the website. So you definitely need to go and see that. In fact, it's on the blog. I'm going to get the link. I'm getting the link. It's Mike's bot. There we go. This is the saga of Mike's BotBod. So I'm wondering if I can just drag and drop a link in. He wasn't overly keen on that. Maybe I can't send a link. Well, what I'll do is I'll drag that little image down and I'll drag that in there. Ooh, 795 by 500. That'll be enough for you to get the full horror of it. So we'll have 100 of those over 7 days and we'll upload that. And then I will post 2 links in there for Mike to share with you, which is, there's the first one. You'll know what that is, Mike. And I'll go and get the second one, copy that link there. So that one was from Chrome. Just to prove the point, it works with any browser. It'll be interesting to see how it worked on iOS. And if my iOS devices were in any way interested in talking to my Mac, we might be able to have a look at that. But in the absence of doing that... Right, so who's got the link for that? Are you in there? Yes, that's the BotBot song and the story behind it. Didn't you say you use WeTransfer?
No, it's banned.
Oh, is that another one that's banned?
They're all banned.
Yeah, you see, you're not allowed to actually do anything, are you? There we go, there's WeTransfer. Send up to 2 gig, no registration, and it's free. But you use Firefox, Graham. Actually, you might not be able to use that at work. I think that's handy. It's not the way I do it, I'll be honest with you. There are reasons why. Once I've uploaded it like that, you notice what's not there unless I can do that. I can delete that from here if I've logged in, but what if I haven't? Now, obviously, I can make it unavailable by downloading it once. If I've uploaded the wrong file, then all I need to do is download it once if I'm not logged in, because if I'm not logged in, I can only have it downloaded once. There are better ways to do that. Much, much, much better ways to do that. Shall I show them the better ways to do that, Mike? Yeah. How are you doing with your toy over there? Is it not having it?
It's done it. I had to format it.
To what?
XFAT.
Oh, right.
It's already formatted as XFAT, but...
They can't hear a word you're saying, so we'll talk about that later. Right, right. He's sorted himself. I'll show you the better way that I do it. What I tend to use is Google Drive. So let's get to Google Drive. I'm frantically pondering what's in the root of my Google Drive at the moment. Oh, nothing, look at that. Oh, what on earth is March? Why did I put March in there, Mike, underlined? I have no idea what's going on there. Right, let's order them by name. That's my Google Drive. That really is my genuine Google Drive. Nice and neat and tidy. Like it that way. I can assure you it did not always look that way. I didn't bother with Google Drive, other than, let's just save it to Google Drive, put it in the root and use the search to find anything. But then I had an epiphany last summer. So I went in and I tidied up the whole thing, as you can see. And I have a public folder, which is shared publicly. And anything I want to share, I put in there. And I leave it there. So these are things I've shared with specific people. Oh, there's the Bag Crash one. And there's Christmas for Kevin. So, although Kevin isn't with us, let's have a look at Christmas. There's Christmas with Kevin. Somebody put this up and... oh, when was it? August, 27th of August. And Kevin loves Christmas. I love Christmas. So I shared it with Kevin. I took a screenshot of Facebook and I uploaded it to Google Drive. Now, you might wonder, why on earth would you do that on Google Drive? Well, let me show you why. Let's get Google Drive out of the way first. One thing that I do is take something like a screenshot. So, let's find something to take a screenshot of. Oh, something. Shall I show them the thing that was driving me insane earlier? Right, I've got an app. Here it is. And that's the version history. Yes, yesterday. Never update with a half an hour to go before a live event. Yes, listen to what I say, not what I do, which I did. So I want to take a screenshot of that and share it. And how I do that is Snagit. So I'm using my Snagit shortcut to draw around that because I want to share that. Okay? In fact, you know what would even be a better bet? It would be this, to say that that is the latest version and take a screenshot of that, right? So let's say I'd done this last weekend. And there is my file in Snagit, and I want to share that. because that's the latest version, and I'm telling people that's the latest version. Okay, so pretty simple stuff. I just want to share that. I can go to share, and I have it configured to share with Google Drive. It's all wired up. All I need to do is to put something in here. So I'm going to put the date. That's what I always do. And then sort of what it is. So it was mouse pose. And I'll even put latest version. Right? And then upload it. And that's it. That's all I need to do. It's uploading in the background. When it's finished, it will copy that link onto my clipboard. And I'll be able to go into a browser. She said, there's a browser. And paste in the link I've got, which is a Google short link, and it will show me that image. Obviously, in this one, I'm logged in as me, but honestly, you'd be able to see it as well, which is fine. There you go. It's shared. And I don't need to do much at all. Thing is, I keep control of that. If I decide not to share it at all, I just delete it, which I can't do other than click that cross on the other one. But there's an even better reason. Right, so let's go back in here. We know that this is the latest version. Oh, darn it. I've uploaded that and I've shared the link with people. And now it's not the latest version and I'm going to look a fool. Unless I could change it. That'd be interesting, wouldn't it? So let's come out of there and go into here. It's going to be available in there somewhere. So when I share something, it goes in here. And if I go down to the bottom, there it is. Mouse pose latest version. Only it's not, is it? That's the problem. But I've got the latest version here. So what I'm going to do with it, I've now got far too many windows open. I'm going to drag that onto my desktop. And I'm going to lose that. Okay, so there's, where did that disappear to? Don't do that. Right, it's there. So let me get that where we can see it all. There we go. Right, but this is the wrong version. Wrong version. A bad version. Right, if I right click on it, I can click Manage Versions. Now, obviously, if it was a document, a Google Doc file, I might have multiple versions of it, and you know that I've not done anything to that. There's only just one version. There it is, the latest version. But I can actually upload a new version of that file. So I will point it to the desktop. I will find it, which is that one, and I will open it. It's changed its name. It has on there. Close that and refresh it. Let's see what it's done at this end. Onto the bottom. It's left it alone. So now, I had that on the clipboard, if you remember. Latest version. I have not re-sent it up there and got another link. It's the same link. And when I click it now, I've changed the file. There aren't too many services you can do that with. You do that with OneDrive? Oh, it was a nightmare, wasn't it? I remember it. It was an absolute nightmare. Well, that's why I use Google Drive, because it means I retain control of it and I can delete files, I can change files. That is so incredibly useful. Right, so that was sharing and Firefox Send, which is useful to know about. Useful to know about, I think. That's what I would say about that. Right, so where were we up to? Yes, Send. Very simple to use, just drag, drop, and you're done. Are we ready to go back to this? Because to be honest with you, Mike, the camera's not playing ball tonight. Shall I give it another go? Oh, this'll be the death of me. It really will. Okay, let me have a look what we've got. If that is Air Server there, which I have the nasty feeling it is, then it's not working. I will endeavour to do it again, and if not, I'm going to have to do that next week, I think. Where's my Air Server share thingy? Oh, you're telling me you're doing it, but you're lying to me. I've got a black screen of death. Well, I'm hoping it'll come back at some point. That's the plan. Oh, you can see I was listening to Radio 2 today. Right, we're back. Don't know for how long, but we're back. Right, come across before it changes its mind, Mike. No, you're doing your iPad.
Oh, right.
You're bringing across your Surface, the last I heard. Which should have the card in it.
It has.
Whee! Let's have a look. Get it on the desk where we can see it. Now, I've forgotten where you shoved the card. Which end was it?
It's in the back. In there.
Yes, I know, but whereabouts in the... Oh, there it is.
Yes.
Let me get... There it
Do you
is.
want to hear a funny story?
You're going to have to come closer to the microphone if you want to share it.
Do you want to hear a funny story?
Well, yes, we always want to hear a funny story.
It's got a happy ending.
Oh, good.
When I took the other card out, just remember there's a 200 gig card in there.
Yes, what did you do with it?
It flew off the desk.
Really?
Yeah.
Where did it end up?
Down there. But you know when you drop a piece of toast, well you don't, but you know when you drop a piece of toast?
No, I don't eat bread.
No, but when you drop a piece of toast, you always get me with the butter side down.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, well this has got the chip thing side up, so it's okay.
Right, so that's where it slots in Mike's Surface. He hasn't even logged in. Look at this, look at this.
Logged in.
Well, you're not logged in now.
Went to sleep.
Oh, you know what we could try and do, don't you, that might work?
Yeah.
Hang on a minute, I've just had an idea. Just had an idea that might work better than this thing, because this is working when it feels like it. What if we did that? Oh, I've had an idea. Right, you can never have too many cameras, I find. Right, there you go. Now, what if I picked it up and moved it round? Ooh, this one might actually work. There you go, Mike. Look at the picture on that.
Right.
Right, I'm holding it steady.
So,
well, steady-ish.
So you want me to try and access the files?
Right, are these the file? Let me zoom in, have a look at them.
Yes.
There's all the files, and there's the thing saying, oh, that's a bit bright. Come on, rejig yourself. 400 gig. Come on. Oh, I just saw it flash up 400 gig. This camera's amazingly sharp, but the colour control on it's shocking. Right, they're on there. So you're going to open one for us. The excitement. Ooh, video off card, video off card. Oh, look, there's all my boxes. Hey! We're impressed.
Good.
Right. Now, do we have any chance whatsoever of seeing the same stuff on the iPad? So, what Mike would have to do for that is extricate the card. Shall I extricate the card, Mike? Do you need to eject it first?
No.
Right,
I
okay.
used to do that in the 1980s.
Are you saying I'm old?
No. I haven't ejected a card. No.
You see the safe way to eject it? Simple. Yeah. How do you end up with it in next door's garden?
Because I just...
Right, move your Surface. Move your Surface. Now, to make this work, I need to get it in there. So, there's said card. I need to extricate this card. So, like I say, good job I've got nails, isn't it? Right, let's extricate that card, which is a 32 gig card. It's there. This might be a job for my teeth. Do you know how much my teeth cost to be doing jobs like this? Still paying it off. Right. Let's get that in there and get that back in there. Ooh, like I say, you need nails. Luckily, I've got nails. So, I have just swapped the card in there. Nothing else has changed, but you'll see it's flashing its little heart out. Getting quite uppity with its little self. So, let it settle down, Mike, and get the green lights on it. There you go. You should then be able to connect to it on there.
This.
I'd try Goodreader. Did you put them in a folder called videos?
No.
Like I told you to?
No, because I got confused.
You're easily confused. Would you like me to put the password in for you as well?
I don't know.
Oh, I don't tell you things like the password.
It took me about half an hour to format the drive.
Oh, come on. Right. So we're going to see if it's available now on Mike's iPad. It's having a rare old think. Did you connect this to the Wi-Fi?
No.
Oh, for crying out loud, Mike. Oh, you must have done. You must have done. Right, there's the videos. There's the iPad. Yes, yes. No, they're not on there. So what I would do with that is, have you got a good reader?
Oh, good reader. Yeah.
Graham's going to be thrilled now. Right, get it back on the desk. And hopefully we'll be able to access these files that are on this card. Have we any idea how we're going to do that? Yeah, I know what we need to do to connect it. You're going to have to hold that while I do it. But let me have a look. Right, it's...
Service.
Well, I don't think it would announce itself. I could be wrong, but I don't think it would announce itself. In fact, I'm quite impressed it's found that lot. Because it shouldn't really, should it? What we want to do is add a... What did I add it as? I had it as a NAS. Oh, we need Graham's help here. We should have added this before, shouldn't we? I'm not even sure you're on the right network. I wonder if we might have more luck if I connected to it. Because I'm already connected to it. So you take that. Let's bring mine into play. I've already connected to this thing. I'll do it through here, which we're not looking at till next week. But I have actually got it connected in here. So that bit there, see it says FileHub Plus. Don't worry about how I'm connecting. I'm just connecting. It's like magic, she said, only it's just hovering and not doing anything. Don't you dare prove me to be a liar. Don't you dare. Pulse, pulse, pulse. More lying by the second. Let me check what network it's on. Don't you love these things? Oh, easy, that's not going to work. You need to be on that network, which was what I told you. Now you're asking for the password again. Can I just say it's all right once you've set it up? Oh, God, gotta love these things, haven't you? Right, back where we were. Back where we were. Right. No, I know you've timed out. We'll have another think about it. Right, there we go. Never mind where we are. Here's the... Oh, look. You've got all of your... Is it in there? No, it's not.
Yes, on the top two.
Top one. So these are the videos. So videos at the bottom. And there are all the videos.
Yeah.
Which one did you play?
Number 5, I think.
Let's have a look at that then. Try and play number 5. It's having a think. Is that playing a video? We've got the spinning wheel of death.
Yeah.
It's playing a video! Way! We got audio. Yay! We have. I'll move my hand out of the way so you can see properly. There we go. So, yes, you can have exactly the same stuff on a little tiny card. Tiny, tiny, tiny card. Working on Mike's Surface and an iPad. Now, you'll notice we did not use the app that came with it. That's because stuff that's on the tiny, tiny, tiny card, it can't get to unless it thinks it's videos that match the videos on your iOS device. So, that's why we're using this app. But we'd be here till 2 in the morning showing you this app. So, we'll show you this app next week. See that next week?
Nice.
And it really is next week. I know, it's amazing, isn't it? It's amazing. But yes, that all works. So now we've configured it all. What we'll do next time is actually walk you through this app that we've got, which makes life a whole lot simpler. Carl, you're ahead of us. But it probably isn't the one you're using. I will explain all next week. You might be interested in that. they make a whole range of apps, and I've got the unusual one, but for a very good reason. In fact, there was about 3 reasons, and it now escapes me, but there were very good reasons. So we'll cover that next week. Right, so let's lose that one. No, now it's reconnecting with its little self. Oh, come on. I've got my mouse on a cable. Right, let's get back in there. So that was... Yeah, that's fine. That was what we bought. You can, if you're careful and you want the white one, all right, get £3 off it. You did, Graham, but trust me, I have other sexy toys to show you too. I'll share the password with you. It just came up and said, you want to share the password? I've no idea who Mike Thomas is, but I'll share it with him. So you can get the white one a little bit cheaper than the black one. There is supposed to be a new model. But when I looked at them, I didn't actually like the new model. And it isn't available anyway. So that's why I went for that one. I have seen similar pieces of kit doing similar jobs, but at 3 times the price. So if you have the need for that, what I was using it for was backing up images on the road, and it worked perfectly for that. Now, I did say we would have another unboxing and stuff, but I'm not risking it. I'm not risking it with my videos tonight. But what we have got is that's not all that device does. It's not just for reading cards. So we will do that bit next week. The white one is $39.99 on Amazon, Carl. Are you logged in? And underneath the price, just have a look if there's a checkbox. And it says something like, what does that checkbox say, Mike? Is it still there? In Amazon. It was $39.99, and then underneath there's a discount code. And all you need to do to claim the discounts, put a tick in the box. And it tells you when that will then expire. And that was how I got £3 off it. No, it's not the Echo Show, Mike. FileHub Plus. What am I looking for? I can't get the stuff. Click on the top one, which is the black one. Then click on the white one. Next to the black one. Yes, it's there, isn't it?
Promotion available.
Is that... No. Is there a checkbox or not? Oh, maybe that offer's gone off. Mike hasn't got it. That could be because you're in my household and it was 1 per household. I don't know. But do check. Do check. There's a checkbox underneath. You might get a discount. We also got a discount on the card. We paid $55 for that card, which we thought was a bargain on account of the fact that you paid $48 for one at $200. But that was last November. So that wasn't bad. Anyway, you can never have too much. Carl's got the option. You're not doing it right, Mike. Maybe you're looking in the wrong place. Be careful when you're ordering from Amazon. Do check everything, because you'll find that under quite a lot of stuff. Sometimes it's a percentage. Sometimes it's a flat amount off. But, usually it's worth a good few pounds. I think the card had £45 off it. There was something I ordered about 3 months ago, and I had £28 off it with the coupon, and I thought, you're kidding me. Literally put the check in my box, and it reduces the price by £28. So check everything you buy for that. Now, the app that we were using, this FileHub Plus, not brilliant, but it is free. There's the one that's a surprise, and it is a surprise, even though you think you know what it is. You're not quite there. You're almost there, but not quite. But we'll show you the fully integrated approach to how we work with it next week, which is Friday night. It's another Friday night. It is next Friday, same time, same place. If you are in the States, you are in a different world now. For the next 3 weeks, you are, 2 and a bit weeks now, but for 3 weeks, you changed your daylight saving. So instead of you being 5 hours behind us, you're only 4 hours behind us. You're catching up with us. We change hours on the 31st of March, and then all bets are off. We're back to normal. So just be aware of that. As to what we're covering, that's going to depend on you, isn't it? You need to tell me what you want. So I had a question tonight about that bit of the video. And we have had questions about how we share videos and stuff. So that was why we covered that as well. Now, Graham said he was going to have a think. So, Graham, are you still thinking? We need to know what you want. We're going to cover that app next week and integrating everything. I think I'll set up another one of these cameras and pension off the iPhone. It's got a mind of its own. But before we head off anywhere to eat anything, who noticed what was different about my desktop? I mentioned that right at the beginning. If you noticed what was different, put it in the chat. If you didn't notice what was different, put it in the chat. Didn't notice a thing. Did I notice anything different? In using it, I did, and I'm quite annoyed about some of it. There you go. So there was the big change I made. Did you spot what it was? This is what you need to tell me in the chat. What else did I say we're going to do next week that was going to be fabulous, Mike? That's completely escaped me as well. Oh, no, I know what it was. It was that good app that there's a free version of. Well, it's a service, and there's a free version of the service. That's what I'm going to do next week. Something we've looked at before, but it was a long time ago, and it's way improved. So we're going to have a look at that next week. If you make any kind of tutorials, you are going to love this app. Right. Is it a thinner font? Oh, Graham didn't notice anything at all. It might be slightly different, the font. I don't think so. Let's show you my desktop again. I don't think so. Let's open up a Finder window and have a look. There's a Finder window. Let's drag it in and have a look at it. No, I'm not seeing anything radically different in terms of the font. But there's a very funny story attached to it that I will regale you with all the gory details on MacBites. Short version is this. Brace yourself. Oh, the deed has been done. The deed has been done. It's Mojave. What can I say? Completely by accident, I might add. It is a funny story. It's a very funny story. But yes, it's Mojave. So anything that didn't work tonight, it was Mojave that did it. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. The bit that's really annoying me, everything else is fine and dandy. I haven't had there's been a couple of issues. One issue is that I use, my red dot. My red dot. My red dot highlights the mouse pointer, and the app has been updated, and it is now Mojave only. It doesn't work. It comes on, and then it disappears, and then it comes back and sits on the screen and won't move. So that had to get binned, which led down a garden path of a load of other problems. So that was a bit of a pain, but the thing that really narks me is Affinity Designer has always looked like that. It's always had a dark interface. Now, there is a light interface. If I don't use this, but somewhere in here, there must be something about the interface. Is it general? Oh, help me out if you use it. Where on earth is it? It's not language. Oh, user interface. That's a good place to start. Oh, do you not have settings? Oh, you do. You have light settings. I hate that. Can't be doing with that. A light interface made sense for me with Sketch. And when I moved to Affinity Designer, I didn't really take to the dark interface. It took me a while. But once I did, I appreciated it. And I don't want to go back to a light interface. But you'll notice, if I go there and it says, I leave that at light, and I do a file open, I get this. I get a nice file open dialog box that I can live with. Love it, love it. But I actually prefer the default style, which is dark. And when I was on High Sierra and all of the other things, Uncle Tom Cobley and all, when I went and did a file open, it was a light dialog box. And I don't like that dialog box. And I don't know why that well, clearly, it's like that because you've set Affinity Designer to a dark interface. But it doesn't work like that on the old versions. So I don't want it to work like that on this one. I don't want to have a dialog box that's dark on a system that's set to a default of light. Why are they doing that to me? So I don't like that. The other thing that I noticed was when I was working in ScreenFlow. And that was, no, not the App Store. Not the App Store. ScreenFlow. That's the one. This too has now defaulted to a light interface. And I'm guessing, haven't even had time to look at this. Is it in here? Where am I supposed to set this? Are you on advanced? No, you're not, are you? Okay, well, it must be somewhere in here. Interface. We've got dark. Let's type in dark and see what it finds. Nothing at all. Interface. Nothing at all. Well, however you set it back to what it should have been. Because by default, this is dark. But this is now defaulting to light because the system's set to light. What I really want is to have granular controls per app because this made more sense being dark, like Camtasia. But if you look at Camtasia, which is that one, if I do a file open there, I get a light dialog box, which is what I want. I know I might be strange, but hey, I want a dark interface on the app and a light interface on the dialog box. Good night, Carl. We'll be heading off ourselves very soon. Hopefully see you next time. So yes, it was the Mojave thing. I did the Mojave thing. But, oh, that's today. That's today. And we need the next one. So let me move that up and put that up. So we'll be back this time next week, same time, same place, where we will be talking about an app that Graham knows and Carl knows, but not in the way they think they know it. No. We've got more hardware to unbox. I have it sat here now and I'm going to have to leave it for a week. Oh my. But I will unbox it live with you and we'll use it live and we'll try that darn thing again. It wouldn't be... The thing itself works great, this RAV Power thing. That's amazing. The issue we've got is trying to demonstrate it, which is why we couldn't reflect the iPad screen, because it's connected to the RAV Power device and not the same network that the iMac is on, and it needs to reflect the screen. So it's all very problematic, not in terms of using it, that's absolutely fine. It's problematic in terms of how on earth we're going to demonstrate it. But knowing that the webcam works, we'll stick 2 webcams on. That's what we'll do. We'll stick them on tripods and make sure that you can see everything, and then we'll let you have a look at all the other bits that we've got for it. But until then, I think we should head off and have something to eat. Graham, what have you got? Run it past me. We may or may not have something rather nice. Alternatively, it might be fruit. It depends. We've got fruit. Oh, we've got fruit. I didn't say we were eating fruit, but we've got fruit. What have we had this week? Oh, I know what we've had. I went out to the theatre. That was more of a shopping with Elaine moment, wasn't it?
For the whole map.
I'm thinking we need an extra little bit to shopping with Elaine. What would you say?
Going out with
Going out with Elaine. Yes, it didn't end well, but however, it started okay. We went to the theatre to see Les Mis, and I was by the end of the night. Went with friends, and the friends had found a restaurant, and it was an Italian. And I don't eat wheat flour, gluten or wheat flour. I also don't eat dairy and sugar and a million other things. But the wheat flour was what was going to cause a problem in an Italian. Anyway, I had a look at it, and I said, it'll be fine, there'll be a salad. Don't worry about it, there'll be a salad. But there really wasn't much else. Everything was with pasta and laced with that much wheat flour. I'd probably have keeled over the minute I walked through the door. So she said, I've had a look at all the others and they're all Italians. And I thought, really? Chinatown's next door. Leave it to me, woman. So I went on Google Maps and literally it was just there in front of me, Mike. And it was a Chinese buffet place. All you can eat. Oh. So I thought, well, I like Chinese. And as long as I don't have the rice, because I don't eat carbs, or gluten, or sugar, or dairy. Yes, I'm a bit tricky, but I can eat sweet and sour chicken, and I can eat satay chicken, and I can eat any other kind of chicken, and Chinese pork. Oh my. So we went into this Chinese, not really expecting much, to be honest. It was $12.99 a head for all you could eat. So no, I didn't have high hopes. Oh my word. It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. The rest of the night, not so good. But I think we should do that on MacBites. Going out with Elaine. Lesson B, don't bother. It wasn't my fault. This time, it was not my fault. But the Chinese was fabulous. Now, what we need to do, Graham, is take pictures of the desserts, because the desserts were also all you could eat. And believe me, the dessert bar was easy 20 to 25 yards long. It was amazing. So I promise we will go back. In fact, we booked, haven't we? Already. And I'll take pictures of all the desserts. We won't be actually eating them live on MacBites, but mentally we will, honest. They had every kind of dessert known to mankind and a chocolate fountain. It was fabulous. Sadly, we do not have a chocolate fountain here right now, but we do have some fruit. Now, Graham's had fruit salad and a cherry bakewell.
We do have a chocolate fountain.
Well, we do have a chocolate fountain, but we've got no chocolate, so there won't be anything to put in it. And anyway, it was nowhere near as big as that. This chocolate fountain was taller than I am, and I'm 5'10". It was fabulous. It was absolutely amazing. If you're ever in Manchester, that's where we're having the MacBites meetup. I've already decided. The parking's an absolute swine, but everything else is fantastic. So we may be partaking of a fruit salad like you, Graham, or we may opt for something a little bit more interesting, who knows. But whatever we have, there'll be photos of it. There you go. Can't say fairer than that. At some point, there'll be a MacBites. Might be in my lifetime. Or I could still be recovering from my enjoyable night out this week. This is what I put. I put this to a friend when I was writing. Should I have a good week? What was it I put? Go to the theatre, they said. Have a nice relaxing night, they said. Yeah, they didn't go to the same theatre I went to. And you know, when we went to the Bolton Octagon 2 weeks ago. Now, the Bolton Octagon, I can show you a picture of that next week as well. We'll put all of this in the beginning of next week's show. They knocked it down. So basically, it's a building site. So they moved temporarily into the basement of the library opposite. And it was fabulous. It was the best play I've ever seen. And it didn't matter it was in the basement of the library, did it? With that skeleton thing hanging over the toilet. That was another story. Because it's a museum as well as the library. As I say, it's a long story. But they did amazingly well. And this theatre was just a nightmare from start to finish. So there you go. You've got that to look forward to, you lucky people. So we're going to head off and have something to eat. What you are charged with doing this week is getting in touch with us. That's the only thing you have to do this week. Get in touch and give us one thing you'd like to see. A demo, an app, whatever. But let us know. You have nothing else to do this week, honestly. Tell your bosses I said you've got nothing else to do this week, but get in touch with us and tell us that. We will name and shame those who didn't next week when we will be back. 9 o'clock Friday night. We will be there. But for tonight, it's good night from me.
It's good night from me.
It's good night from Mike, and we will both see you next time. Good night, guys. Great to have you with us.